Oh, sorry if I'm a little bit, a couple seconds late there. I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to set up my equipment here, my technology, so we can see what I'm talking about today as I'm talking about it. Well, we may cut off the top of my head a little, but that's okay. That's okay. We are this morning. Well, good morning. And I hope you're having a great weekend so far. I hope you slept in. I hope you were watching cartoons all morning. Uh, we're on chapter 27 of Enochian Vision Magic. Elemental workings, temple openings, and addressing the hierarchies. If you've been following along heroically throughout this entire reading session, you know that we've finished our discussion of the chronology of the events that facilitated the reception of the Enochian system by Dee and Kelley. And the material that was left to the members of the Golden Dawn and modern magicians to hammer it into a workable system of vision magic. So now we're getting into the nuts and bolts of the practice of Enochian magic, at least techniques of practice of Enochian magic. So the title of this chapter, again, is Elemental Workings, Temple Openings, and Addressing the Hierarchies. And the epigram is from a quote from a song by Charlie D. and Milo from the album Charlie D. and Milo, 1971 Epic Records. Theme from Mount Oread. Sylphs and gnomes and undines too, salamanders beckon you. Why on earth would anyone wish to call upon an angel of the elements? What can a salamander, a fire elemental, do for me? When does an undine or undine, a water elemental, when does an undine come in handy? Does a sylph, an air elemental, does a sylph really look like Tinkerbell? Are gnomes, earth elementals, really grumpy? Is exploration of the elements a necessary prerequisite to higher magical workings? As I wrote in the prologue, the question of why magic is one that is not easily answered. The supreme goal of the magician is spiritual enlightenment and liberation of the soul. Do I expect to accomplish that end through the aid of elemental spirits? Not directly. But elementals are part of my world, part of my being. They move within me and around me. They dwell among themselves in their infinite number, ratio, and proportions. Know thyself was chiseled above the doors of the ancient temples of initiation. How can I know myself when the mysteries of the elements of my own heart and soul remain undiscovered? Enochian elemental magic is not a matter of calling up a spirit to command it to do a job for you, to cause the girl next door to fall in love with you, to bewitch your neighbor's cow, or to kill an enemy at a distance. Instead, when you visit an Enochian elemental angel in vision, you're exploring a specific aspect of creation, a highly specialized area of which the angel is the visual and metaphoric embodiment. You see the things the way they are in that narrow quadrant of the universe. Once armed with the insights these spiritual specialists can provide you, you're better prepared to know how to go about causing the girl next door to fall in love with you or bewitching your neighbor's cow. I understand that killing at a distance is less satisfying than one might imagine. Does this really help the magician? First and most obviously, it broadens his or her understanding of how the spirit world is the subjective and underlying reality of the objective world. Just as the educated and seasoned traveler is better equipped than the novice to understand rewards and pitfalls of world travel, a magician experienced with elemental work is endowed with a greater understanding of existence. That in and of itself is a spiritual reward. But more than that, each willed encounter with angels of the elements activates, readjusts, and rebalances the magician's own internal elemental components. Like the computer user who periodically defragments the hard drive of his or her computer in order to make things run more efficiently, the magician is changed and hopefully improved with every thoughtful and seriously examined elemental encounter. At our Monday Night Magic class, we've developed a series of simple questions. We first ask every angel we call from the elemental tablet. Just as we would not expect any two computer hard drives to be fragmented in exactly the same way, so no two magicians should expect the same answers to these questions. Here are a few of them. The first questions are the simplest and yet most important. What is your name? Confirm you've gotten who you've called. What is your nature? The next questions deal with how the angel is perceived by the human senses. What is your color? What is your sound or musical note, if possible? How do you feel to the human touch? What do you taste like? How do you smell? The next questions deal with how the angel makes itself known to us through our thoughts and emotions. How do I express you through emotions? In what form of images and ideas are you most revealed to me? When are you most manifest in my daily life? Now, I'm going to digress for a moment. Let me do this. The answers don't usually come with the angel dictating things like, my smell is that of a pine tree warmed, its sap warmed by an autumn sunlight or something like that. Although it sometimes it actually does do that. When you ask an angel, an elemental angel, a question, or any angel a question, the answer comes in a visual vignette of some kind, a snapshot of an event or a recreated sense memory of some kind. It comes in a vignette. and you interpret that vignette as your answer. So if you would ask an elemental spirit of, say, fire of earth, a specific one within that subcategory, well, how do you manifest in my emotions? Through smell, say. And then all of a sudden you smell the warm, buttery, earthy smell of hot cornbread coming out of your grandmother's oven. And you may not even do the smell first. You may ask, what is your smell? And you may then see in your little vision, just a sense memory of the curtains, the lace curtains in your grandmother's kitchen. And then you feel the warmth on your face, and then you smell the cornbread. And that's how you get your answer. In a visionary moment, sense memory, or sense vignette of some kind. Okay, but I digress. Other questions could concern more specific things to one's own personal magical issues, but I think you get the picture. Now that we know a little more about why to practice Enochian elemental magic, let's look at how you do it. It is likely that my opinion on this subject will be slightly at odds with a number of practicing Enochian magicians. It is even more certain to receive condemnation by legions of others who don't actually perform Enochian magic, but instead enjoy speculating how Enochian magicians should operate. Dee and Kelley contacted the angels by praying. Boy, did they pray. There's nothing in the surviving records that suggests that they performed banishing rituals, drew pentagrams or hexagrams in the air, made knocks or magical gestures, or called upon strings of classic Kabbalistic Hebrew divine names from the Sephiroth of the Tree of Life. The operating procedures of the Golden Dawn and Crowley, however, do all those things and more. Here's an example of a Golden Dawn style temple opening appropriate for working with the elemental tablet of earth. And that's why now I'll tip this down a little more. Here's a flat elemental tablet of earth. And there's a bigger one. It's a ceremony that incorporates ritual components from the Golden Dawn's neophyte ritual. The grade that represents Malkuth, or Earth, the 10th and lowest Sephirah on the Tree of Life. As you'll see, the ritual invokes the Kabbalistic hierarchy of divine names, archangels, angels, traditionally attributed to Malkuth and the element Earth. It goes like this. It's the, I can lift it up a little bit there. Maybe if I push it back, I can, there. So it's the opening of the temple in the grade of 1 equals 10. The magician gives the sign of the god set fighting, which is the earth sign. Then you purify the temple with fire and water. You or an officer goes, circumambulates the temple clockwise, consecrating with a candle or a lamp for fire and sprinkling water in all 4 quarters. The temple is cleansed. Knock. Let us adore the Lord and King of earth. Adonai Haaretz, Adonai Melech, unto thee be the kingdom and the scepter and the splendor. Malkuth, Geburah, Gedula, the rose of Sharon and the lily of the valley. Amen. Then sprinkle some salt before the earth tablet. Let the earth adore Adonai. Then make the hexagram of Saturn. Then make the invoking pentagram of spirit passive and pronounce Eheya Agala Nanta. Remember Nanta? That's the earth archangel. Make the invoking pentagram of earth while pronouncing Adonai Melech. And Elohim said, let us make man in our own image, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. And the Elohim created Athahada. In the image of the Elohim created they them. Male and female created they them. In the name of Adonai Melech, and of the bride and the queen of the kingdom, spirits of earth, adore your creator. Make the sign of Taurus, cherubic sign of earth. In the name of Uriel, great archangel of earth, spirits of earth, adore your creator. Make the cross. In the names and letters of the great northern quadrangle, spirits of earth, adore your creator. Sprinkle some water before the earth tablet. In the three great secret names of God, Mor, Da'al, and Hektika. Oh God, you couldn't see it. Mor, Da'al, Hektika. Spirits of earth, adore your creator. Then you cense the tablet with incense. In the name of Ich, Zod, He, Kal. Great King of the North, spirits of earth, adore your creator. In the name of Adonai Haaretz, I declare that the spirits of earth have been duly invoked. Knock. Now, of course, in a temple setting, that looks a whole lot more impressive and is done with a whole lot more solemnity. For many modern Enochian magicians, rituals such as this Kabbalistically formatted degree opening ceremony are perfect vehicles for establishing the proper elemental environment in which to operate. For years, they were an indispensable part of my own operating procedure as well. I discontinued, however, about 10 years ago, and that's probably about 20 years ago now. As we myopically focus on the fascinating intricacies of different magical systems, we often forget the big picture and the fact that we have only one universe to play with. There is no such thing as a separate Kabbalistic magic universe, or a separate Solomonic magic universe, or a separate Enochian magic universe. These various systems simply oblige us to view the same universe from different angles. Granted, when we look from differing points of view, we see certain similarities. After all, it's the same universe. There are certain to be recognizable landmarks, but we can't expect the structure of one system's point of view to neatly match or define the other. It is, in my opinion, that the spiritual forces inherent in Enochian magic are expressed units of living consciousness that reflect a uniquely structured and organized point of view of the universe. One that the communicating angels obliged Dee and Kelley to build from scratch. It is a perfect self-referential system of looking at things that cannot be expected to be consistently compatible with other self-referential systems. With all due respect to the knowledgeable and eloquent magicians who created the above temple opening, I believe that unless your sensitivities as a magical artist demands it, most of it is completely unnecessary in order for you to properly activate the elemental tablet and effectively address the hierarchy of angels who rule the angel you may wish to contact. The use of various pentagrams and hexagrams and the assumption of Samothracian elemental god forms, the invocation of various names of the Hebrew deity and traditional angels, and the recitation of Bible verses are all tried and true magical methods to access the elemental world of Earth, but they are tools used in another kind of magical system. A system that views the magical universe from a slightly different angle, music played in a different scale of notes. Please don't misunderstand me. Kabbalistic temple openings such as the one that above work effectively enough for Enochian elemental operations. But what makes them work, in my opinion, is not the pentagrams, Hebrew god names, or Bible verses. They work because, nestled within the ramblings and tossing about of salt and water, the magician is required to recognize and address by name the spiritual forces of the elements as they are uniquely organized and expressed in the Enochian magical system. For our example above, those names are Nanta, the great angel of earth from the Tablet of Union. So, okay. Nanta, the green row. Nanta. The hierarchy of the higher elemental force, Nanta, okay. Then the next in hierarchical thing is more. Let me do it this way. More, dial, hectica. Then the next one is the king, exodhekal. Okay, those are the three great secret names of God from the elemental tablet of earth. Exodhekal, the king of the elemental tablet of earth. The hierarchy of high elemental forces that the other magical systems call Adonai Haaretz, Adonai Melech, and Malkuth, and the Rose of Sharon and the Lily of the Valley. Everything the other system calls forth by means of pentagrams, gestures, and Bible verses are all wrapped up and neatly addressed in the Enochian system simply with the names Nanta, Mordial, and Hectica. If you conclude that my thoughts on this subject have some merit, I encourage you to customize for yourself a simply formatted little speech that addresses by name and in proper order the various angelic personages of the hierarchies of each elemental tablet. I will outline my address to the hierarchies at the end of this chapter. But first, let's discuss what the proper procedure for an elemental working might be. And that's a good place for us to break and pick this up tomorrow for DuQuette's Protocol for Enochian Vision Magic. So, well, I apologize for the clumsiness of my audio-visual bouncing back and forth, but I did the best I could. My foot is a little better today. Thank you for asking. I even got out on my tricycle this morning and did about a 2-mile trike run. But anyway, thank you very much for your good thoughts and healing vibrations and good juju that you've been sending to my foot. Continue, because I'm not out of the woods yet with it. Anyway, have a great weekend, everyone. Continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love's the law, love under will. See you tomorrow.